Great to be with you. Yes, happy spring, everybody. Can you believe it? The vernal equinox, as we've been saying. Happy vernal equinox. That's Latin for spring. Vernal meaning spring. Equinox, equal days, equal nights. Usually 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of nighttime. And we explained that yesterday, where the sun's rays are actually bent as they move toward Earth, and that's why we've got a little bit of extra daylight, a little more than 12 hours today. To be exact, well, 12 hours and 7 minutes with that sunrise. It was gorgeous at 7:31, sunset at 7:38, and officially our vernal equinox. Getting started at 10:46 a.m. today. Pretty cool. What gives us our seasons? A lot of folks say, well, it's got to be we're closer to the sun, right? And I explained to the kids in school, it's really not the distance, okay? So it's actually where those direct rays fall. And if you look at the Earth, see how it's kind of tilted? Got a 23.5-degree tilt. Well, the rays of direct sunlight are going toward the equator. So it's more like holding a flashlight out to decipher, what our seasons are. And when the direct rays of that flashlight or the sunlight are on the equator, we get, closer to 12 hours, 12 minutes of daylight, 12 hours of daylight, and then 12 hours of nighttime. And usually, we've got temperatures that are more moderate. But then we flash that light, and when the Earth continues its 23.5-degree tilt as we go into June, that flashlight's pointing right toward us in the northern hemisphere, and that's why we get so hot. And we go, into the triple-digit feels like temperatures, the heat index, and all that good stuff in our rainy season. And really, the sun is the driving force behind the weather on Earth. And a cool fact is, if the sun went out right now, how long would it take us to know? Take 8 minutes. All right, so pretty cool. But the sun, it drives everything, of course, right? You got the heating, the convection, where those direct rays lie. And of course, here on the vernal equinox, we know they're right on the equator and they're heading north. And the hot days are almost here. And we're going to heat up this weekend. It looks beautiful, but we're not going to get that summer heat. It's going to be great. Wonderful spring weather's finally here. But the first segment, we're going to break this down into 3 segments today. We'll go from hurricane season. I've got new information on our hurricane season. We'll talk more about the drought. And then we'll have your weather fact of the day, including this equinox egg. Are we able to balance this egg? Oh boy, it's going to be fun. All right, I want to thank our producer here. Wonderful. I don't know if he can talk to us there. Okay, there he is. You're the best. Did your basketball team win?
I don't have a horse in the race.
Okay.
I enjoyed all the things that nail biters. The one with Duke. I thought they were gonna cook.
I was watching that. I was supposed to be, getting a little nap in, but I said I'm not napping. That was unbelievable.
I was rooting for everybody. Like everybody here, I was rooting for them.
Don't have a horse in the race.
Yeah, right.
Good deal. Well, the Gators play tonight. That'll be interesting. So we'll see how they do. I don't think USF won. Unfortunately they lost. My bracket was okay. It was a typical year. I picked a couple upsets, but for us, let's get into hurricane season, okay? And if your bracket is being busted, like so many of us this time of year, something to soothe any hurt feelings. I've got good news about our hurricane season. Well, first of all, the good news is we've got 73 days, plenty of time to make sure we have our water and our supplies. Every year we get ready the same way. That's my rule of thumb. Every year we get ready the same way, no matter what these forecasts say. But this forecast at least is more positive than we said. Last year was supposed to be historically bad. It was doomsday. I don't see that in this forecast. Okay, so we break it down. Hurricane season begins June 1st, 73 days away. The new information, yesterday we broke on our streaming show about the updated drought. Well, today it's about those water temperatures in the Pacific Ocean. You see what's happening? I'm going to scoot over. We look at the water just south of Hawaii. Seen that? I put a little air on there for you. And what we're watching are temperatures that are really starting to rise in this area. So right about here. And when you're getting warmer than normal water, okay, and it's sloshing off to the east, that causes the jet stream that carries weather across the earth to do much different things. And you have higher upper level winds, and if we can put a little wind in here, right in there, that wind makes it all the way to the Atlantic basin. All right, that's cool. That's good because, in the hurricane season, we always talk about we want light winds in the upper levels. As we get into this hurricane season, that may not be the case. We have an El Nino watch. This is exciting to me because, the La Nina's brought us the drought conditions. We were, of course, watching our tropical season last year. We had several Category 5s. fairly busy, more typical, more of an average year last year. But what I'm excited about when we say El Nino and we're going into tropical season, that usually means fewer storms and more wind shear. That's what you get out of this. So those Pacific Ocean temperatures really drive the weather. We talked about the sun driving the overall weather on Earth, but also what's happening in the largest water body on Earth. The Earth is made of mainly water, right? So the Pacific Ocean does drive a lot of our weather. And the graphs are in. This just came in yesterday, all right, from NOAA. Mid-March update. You see the red lines, the little red graph there. That is what you need to know. That's the probability of an El Nino, now up to 70, 80%. And on the very bottom, you see the MAM, March, April, May, June, July, June, July, August. So, our peak season is really July, August, September. So go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 graphs over right toward the middle. And notice that's showing a 75% chance of an El Nino. That's amazing. And then that neutral year, usually we get most of our hurricanes where you see the graphs in the gray and the blue. That favors above normal activity if you look at Jacksonville's history. But when we get the red graph, the El Nino, warmer Pacific, more wind shear, we like that. And what I like is the percentages go up as we head toward the peak season. So with this El Nino watch, we're going to be watching it. It's not set in stone, but this is the time of year we watch it develop. Okay, when we make our forecast for the main hurricane season, this is the time of year that's so important. What are those water temperatures doing that I showed you? And they're warming pretty prolifically across the Pacific. So as we look at the average timeline for the number of named storms, okay, so June 20th is usually our first storm. All right, July 17th, there you go. Number 2, along with August, and then the hurricanes there, major category 3. So again, really the meat and potatoes of our hurricane season really kick in, as we know. I think we ring a bell every year in the Weather Center. August 11th. All right, so hurricanes really get started. There's your name system, August 26th, and then major category 3s as we head towards September 1st. But what I'm liking here is as we look at the hurricane names, we may have an early start. I don't like that we may have an early start to the hurricane season, but when we get most of our names, probably a lot of wind shear in the Atlantic that would hold the numbers down. Okay, it doesn't mean that we're out of the woods by any means, because we saw the last big El Nino year in 2023. Guess what? It ended up as the 4th busiest year on record, dating back to 1850, because the Atlantic Ocean was so warm. So, not the only factor we look at, one of the factors, but at least I'm leaning in the positive direction this year, right? Arthur would be our first name storm, Bertha, Cristobal, Dolly, Edward, and the one that I'm not looking forward to is Isaias. I'm still learning how to say that. They recycle these names every 6 years, and if they don't retire the name, you actually keep the name. It recycles. So just keep that in mind. I don't think I was the only meteorologist that had a hard time saying Isaias. All right, I'm getting better. Isaias. Josephine and Kyle, Leah, Marco, and Nana. Last year we got to the M name, right? So what do we have? 13, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. This year, maybe, the average season we get 12 name storms. Maybe we can end up with just Kyle or Josephine at the end of the list instead of Marco, Nana, or Omar. We don't want to get anywhere near Vicky or Wilfred. All right, and I apologize if that's your name, okay? But there's your 2026 tropical cyclone names. The trend is we would be closer to maybe a little below 12 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes based on the Pacific Ocean temperatures. Now, as we explain what ENSO is, El Nino Southern Oscillation, boy, I'm really getting into the nitty gritty here, but this is important. You've got your trade winds in the Pacific. I showed you the water temperatures coming together. In a neutral year, yeah, you got your normal trades, your currents heading to the west. Notice cooler water off Ecuador and the South America, warmer water back toward Australia. But what's happening this year as the El Nino got started, I showed you that warm plume. I showed you some of that orange color. All right, I showed you the warmer weather. And what happens is that warm water moves to the east. All right, taking a look, and if you like anchovies, that's not good news. It may cost a little more for some anchovy pizzas out there. They don't do too well in the warm waters. And you get the weaker trade winds out in the Pacific because, yeah, that overall flow weakens as that water warms. Now watch what happens as we zoom in. What that'll do is that'll increase the wind shear. I'm going to put some more arrows over us here in Florida to show that wind shear coming in. In fact, I showed you that overall pattern. There's that polar jet stream staying north, but you got more wind shear, and you got what's called a subtropical jet stream that really gets started here. This is kind of a light color, but you kind of get the gist. So there's your wind, and that wind likes tearing apart hurricanes and tropical storms. The Caribbean is usually stays dry, but look at what happens to our overall weather pattern. We get into more of a wetter, rainy pattern here over our home state and First Coast. And then the dry weather heads north. All that dry weather we've seen over the past year, that's more for the Ohio Valley. And then Wisconsin, that had one of the, when my Wisconsin relatives are complaining it was a bad winter in the Northeast, usually it's a warmer winter. In a warmer pattern. So pretty interesting. All the new stuff that came in yesterday afternoon, I said, man, we got to talk about this on the show. And I'm glad we got to it. 7-day forecast. You can see we are talking about, I said we're going into a wetter pattern likely with the El Nino, but it's going to take some time. Officially not an El Nino yet. That's to be probably as we get into April and May. But in the meantime, we got to be extra careful about that fire danger. We started talking about this yesterday because we're still going to stay in that drier pattern. It takes time for the pattern, overall hemispheric patterns to change. So you look at the 7-day forecast, and yeah, we're going into a 20% chance of rain next week. That's the highest chance I see. Maybe it'll change a little, maybe not, but we're not going to get that 1 inch, 2 inches of rain we saw last week. And the big story is when you get to 87 and 89, parched soil, shifting winds out of the southwest that could pick up ahead of the front, then the northeast, you could see that fire danger really skyrocket. So coming up, good to share good news with you on the equinox. We finally feel like spring out there. It's a beautiful first day of spring, 72 degrees. New data in for the hurricane season showing possibly fewer storms. And then in our 7-day, your weekend's looking wonderful with mid to upper 80s. Even the beaches will get in on the 70s to near 80 degrees. So looking good for the St. Augustine Seafood Fest. But now we're in search of rain, and we're going to have to stay safe with the fire danger. And we're in search of spring showers. When might we see those? All right, so we'll take a short break. Malcolm, thank you. We'll get back and pay some bills, and I'll be right back. I promise. It's just a minute or two. Maybe go to the fridge and get a quick snack because this show's only picking up steam. We're going to find spring showers, and we're going to dispel the egg and the equinox. Stay tuned.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Breaking overnight, police are investigating an officer-involved shooting.
Breaking news, a major crash on I-95.
Routine controlled burn got out of control. First Coast News was the only station there.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
For 15 years, I've lived and breathed Jacksonville weather here at First Coast News. From stepping out in the midst of hurricanes to just delivering your daily forecast, I take it seriously because weather can impact your safety, but it also impacts your everyday life. So my job is to make it easy to understand so that you're prepared. I'm Lewis Turner, and as Chief Meteorologist here at First Coast News, it is my honor to be on your side.
Get your latest forecast on First Coast News Plus.
You look great, meteorologist Mike Prangley and Malcolm in the house, and you're in good hands here. He's wonderful back there. And we're streaming. We're streaming beautiful spring day here at First Coast News. We gave it a 10 out of 10 weather digit. Well, you call it the Prangley Runner Index usually, right? You want to get out, walk, get the dogs out there, and look at the dew points now at 54 degrees. So that's a sign for meteorologists that polar air is long gone. If we look around your hometowns from St. Johns County, Duval, Clay County, we're seeing that classic spring pattern. You're going down JTB. You're in Mandarin, your south side. You're going to have high temperatures, probably hit 75. Isn't that amazing? But then you get on 295, you do that little turn to the east on JTB, and you're going to fall 10 degrees again. Now, it's not going to be as dramatic as the last couple of days, but if you're going to the beach, I said, well, I'm going to have the hoodie and the shorts on a day like today. Okay, we still have that onshore flow. So if you look at the map, there's a little wind flow out of the northeast. It's not going to be quite as strong, not as cold, but it's there. But ocean temperature is still only 62 degrees. So that'll keep highs of 67 in St. Augustine to Fernandina Beach, 70 up toward Brunswick. And then as you go inland just to the I-95 corridor, totally different story, right? We go back to the west on JTB, get on 295. We head over the Buckman Bridge, and That thermometer on the card will go from 66 today to probably 76. You see officially we're at 73 Middleburg, 76 Lake City, and Waycross. We should be at 75. The one thing, though, we said we'd talk about, we did the hurricane talk. All right, let's talk fire risk. We're finally getting the nice spring weather, but we got to keep our guard up. We take a look at the drought conditions, and as of our Friday, March 20th, it's off to a dry start. We haven't seen this heading into spring since 2012. It's been a while, and you see the exceptional drought really starting to pick up across the area, especially as you head out toward areas of Valdosta and the I-75 corridor. There's many of these areas you see in red. This is our viewing area. We're 10 to 20 inches, 15, 20 inches below where we should be since last January 1st. All right, not this one, the previous one. So that's the bad news. So I showed you the graphs with the El Nino, the La Nina, and then the neutral phase in the Pacific Ocean, because it does so much to control our weather. Well, we've been in the blue bar with the La Nina, which usually brings drier than normal conditions. So we are talking about one of the reasons we had the big drought. But again, as we go to this forecast, let's search for spring showers. When can we change this around? Okay. Well, first, we got the fire danger elevated. We got the low relative humidity. I showed you that dew point. And what happens is the air heats as the day goes on, it starts to dry out. I notice it's going to fall to 27% relative humidity in Lake City, 31% in Brunswick, and then a lot of orange on the screen there. What is that? Well, I've got an elevated fire risk, okay, today, Saturday. Problem is, I showed you those mid to upper 80s Sunday, Monday. We're heating up, parched ground, critical fire danger Sunday, Monday, and we're going to just keep it elevated next week because we're not going to see any big rain. So just keep that in mind. And speaking of the record heat, all right, there it is, 84, 87, 89. Some of the warmer spots on the south side and the west side will be up near 90 by Sunday, and that record high of 91 set in 1935. So remember to heed all burn bans. All right, we don't want to park cars on dry fields. Don't throw cigarettes out the window. Just little small things can go a long way to keeping us safe. But near record heat, we're talking about near record drought, not a good combination there. And you can see the forecast highs really heating up as we head into the weekend. And for those that are going to the beach, it'll be nice and warm. That sea breeze will hold off until later in the day. So even the beaches will be close to 80. All right, we said we'd be in search of some spring showers. And this is the best I could do. So we showed the Euro on our streaming show at 9 a.m. and it showed, it only showed like 1/10 of an inch for us. So if you look at the graphs there, that's basically accumulated rainfall. So we're dry all the way through the weekend. Next week, Tuesday's that backdoor front coming through, but just not showing much rain. And it's spotty. It's hit or miss. You go down toward Orlando, Crystal River, maybe a little more moisture to work with, a little more tropical moisture, higher dew points, but I don't see anything big happening, and not much in the way of spring showers as we start our spring. Really, we feel like it, but yeah, we're not getting the showers. A backdoor front comes through, and if you look there closely, again, we're seeing a northeast wind that'll drop our temperatures into the 60s to near 70, but just not much rain out there. Maybe a few light showers on Tuesday. Our precipitable water. All right, so we got the dry scale. We go dry to medium to wet, and where you see the brown, just think of that as desert. There it is, desert of Jacksonville, Florida, the First Coast. Desert goes on. Hey, wait, there's a little shading. Our little desert's going away. That's that front on Monday, but you see we're not getting much moisture with it. It just doesn't do the job. So for these fronts, what meteorologists look for rain, we need lift and fronts, but the question always is how much moisture do they have to work with? And this one does not have much to work with, as you can see. And then we dry right back out next week. So we start spring, elevated fire risk. That'll be a big thing to watch here. And remember, tips to prevent wildfires. So he said, watch those cigarette butts, put them in a proper container. No open burning, heed all warnings, and keep those vehicles off the dry grass. But, my glass has been half full since this show started with hurricane season. And now with our forecast rainfall. Drum roll, please. There it is, Malcolm. We got a precip and rainfall back in the green. So you got the graph. So you got the brown. We know about the desert brown, likely below average, and then likely above where you see the green. So the darker the green, the better. And look at that, from Tampa to Orlando, the I-4 corridor, I-75, I-95, up into Georgia. We are seeing a pattern change across the southeast. Let's see if this will let me go out a little bit. But I can tell you what, that would bring us, and this is through June. So I did have dry weather over the next week to 2 weeks at least. But again, hopeful that we will get that rain and things will get better for sure. So there it is. Our 10-day forecast. Speaking of hope, all right, no hope yet for the rainfall or the spring showers. Very low chances all the way through. Not this just this weekend, next weekend. No frost or freezes. So if you're planting plants to celebrate spring, you can put in some of those the more sensitive plants now. I don't have any freezes, frost, but notice we do fall a little bit temperature-wise next week, just a little, and then back up in the 70s to 80s, and then back down to 70. So we're in the pattern where we get cooler instead of colder. And notice we got the jumbo shrimp Friday 1 week from today. And coming up, we'll have that jumbo shrimp forecast, but it's going to be first off the praying fact of the day, dealing with the egg and the equinox. Stay tuned.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus.
The First Coast News weather team has your most accurate forecast with weather impact alerts to warn you about severe weather. Our team is here to help you prepare and keep you safe.
The First Coast News weather team is always on your side. Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
For 15 years, I've lived and breathed Jacksonville weather here at First Coast News. From stepping out in the midst of hurricanes to just delivering your daily forecast, I take it seriously because weather can impact your safety, but it also impacts your everyday life. So my job is to make it easy to understand so that you're prepared. I'm Lewis Turner, and as Chief Meteorologist here at First Coast News, it is my honor to be on your side.
Get your latest forecast on First Coast News Plus.
All right, so I was talking to Malcolm. He said, what are you talking about, the egg? Can you balance an egg easier on the equinox? So as we look at the bow tie guy question of the day, this is more of maybe an older saying, because I don't think Malcolm's heard of this. Okay, so maybe more of an older saying, like an ancient Chinese tradition. And what you try to do on the equinox, since we have the earth and the sun's rays are directly on the equator, it's people associated with equal daylight, nighttime, and more of an equal gravitational force. Like the gravitational force would change on the equinox because everything's lined up just perfectly. So our egg must be able to be lined up, and we should be able to balance it exactly on the equinox. And as you look at here, I can prove that it's just a myth. It's not good. So it's what folks have done in the past is they actually have glued a little bit of salt or use a little salt on the bottom. And that's the way you would stand up an egg, because I've tried. A bottle cap works the best. But again, the big thing to take out of this is there's no, the gravitational pull is the same year round, even though the sun's rays are directly on the equator. And the earth still has its 23.5 degree tilt. So it's not like the earth and the sun, everything's like perfect lined up where everything you can stand on edge like a mop. Some folks actually use the same where they said they could stand the mop straight up, the mop in their home. So it's like an old wives' tale, and that goes with the egg as well. So I want to thank Malcolm for doing a little handy camera work there. And let's get to some facts here. So there's the spring equinox. And yeah, why would you be able to balance an egg on the equinox, right? Still have the tilt of the earth. Yeah, the direct rays of the sun are lined up perfectly on the equator, but that egg is not lined up perfectly, as we found out. It goes back. There's a different summaries as to where it started. So a pretty interesting little myth that we just debunked there. The spring equinox officially at 10:46 a.m., and that's no myth. That's for real. And then as we go toward the summer solstice, we have the sun's direct rays going toward the Tropic of Cancer. There I was, Malcolm, I was trying this all morning in the kitchen, you see? Yeah, they paid me for that too. We're busy on the morning show. What are they doing? They're balancing eggs during the show? Okay. Crystal, of course, said, can you cook up some eggs for me? So you get hungry on that shift because we get in real early, start at 4 a.m. And good news is for us, we're not cooking eggs on the sidewalk. We got great spring weather today. Travel weather, 72 Jacksonville. We talked a little bit about basketball. The Gators play the late game tonight, but there's a Gator walk in Tampa going on at 7:30. My daughter let me know she'll be in the house here shortly as well. Big Gator, of course. We're talking about great weather in Tampa at 79. There is some rain in Miami. So if you have friends on a cruise right now, it's not been a nice week down in the Bahamas. and they'll be happy to get home here shortly as spring break winds down across Northeast Florida. And, you know, for our Georgia friends, hey, your spring break's still to come. I'm very excited for you. The first week of April should be nice. It'll be a little warmer as well. It's been a wild week with those cold temperatures to warm. Notice what's coming our way. Little Rock at 85. And Malcolm, you know me, I'm not done with the facts yet. I'm going to keep your attention. So forecast planner putting into focus, 72 today. Mostly clear, nice walking weather, 60 tonight. There's your hour by hour, mostly clear skies, okay, on the far right. And then we got cosmic baseball. I mean, this is, I heard it was unbelievable. It was amazing last night. So I may try to get out there because we have 2 more nights, tonight and tomorrow night. So I'll see what I can do. But 7:30 tonight, we've got temperatures again into the mid to upper 50s, and a much warmer night because that wind is much lighter and it's just a light east wind. So maybe a light hoodie will do, or sweatshirt. As we look at the weather fact, we're going to end with a bang here. Of course, we got the jumbo shrimp forecast next Friday. But first of all, the heat wave. So we know about the equinox and the egg. Check out what's going on in Phoenix. That's not normal. I know it's the desert. You're saying, okay, yeah, they get 100 degrees. They don't get 100 degrees in March. That's not normal. Oklahoma City, they don't get 97 in March usually. That's crazy. And then look at Bismarck. Well, at least we're warmer than Bismarck today, 71 versus our 72, so that's good. But look what happens as we go into Friday, Saturday. See what I'm seeing? See how the warmer ridge is starting to build to the east. There could be 100-degree weather in Oklahoma and North Texas. That's really, usually they wait till later in June, July, not March. Phoenix 106. And as we wrap it up with our weather fact of the day, we have a new United States of America record high temperature for March. And Malcolm, you got to get within 3 degrees. What do you say? It's over 100. It's over 105.
I would say 112.
You got it. You got within the +3. There it is, 110 in Martinez Lake, Arizona. So, Malcolm, you're going to buy some lake. Yeah. You're going to buy some lakefront property out there, but unfortunately, the lake is all dried up. It was too hot, and it's gone. Martinez Lake, 110 degrees. I mean, think about that in March. So that's the reason why I'm going. How did we go from 32 to 90 in some areas on the south side this weekend? It's a hot pattern across much of the country, and you got that jet stream lifting to the north. So as we wrap this up, heat dome moves east. Will it last for our jumbo shrimp in their opening day? Here it is. Woo! Play ball. And Good Morning Jacksonville will be out there. We're going to play ball. Again, we don't see any rainouts or anything like that. Still some ups and downs as we head through the first 10 days of spring. But yeah, spring is here to stay. And the main thing is remember to hydrate, remember the sunscreen, and enjoy. And good news is we're going to get that rain. It just may take time. So remember your fire safety rules, and we'll have updates, of course, as we get closer to hurricane season. So for Malcolm, for me, to you, happy spring, everybody, and I will see you soon.